How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully this doesn't cut out long. I gotta take out the compost. Um, there's so much to talk about and so little time before I need to get going. Probably about like 8 minutes or less. But um, first off, hopefully everyone did as much teshuva as they were able to. I'm not sure if that's ever, like I mentioned before, I'm not sure if I don't feel that's ever like possible, but at least not for me. It always feels like there's something more I could have done. But hopefully you at least did something. There's some things to watch out for and be aware of. If you took your teshuva seriously, God God took it or will is taking it seriously, and expect some expect some suffering. Hopefully hopefully that comes, whatever it is, either monetary monetary loss or physical pain, or something. Whatever happens, just take it with love. Acknowledge that it's part of teshuva, and it's because God loves you. And just keep strong, because after after you pass that, it's not really a test, but it's just like part of the atonement. There has to be some kind of like payment for all the horrible things that we did in this world. Generally, it doesn't come all at once. Usually, it's kind of slow, but most of the time there's something fairly soon after a person does teshuva. Some pain or something that they don't like, that we don't like. And if we take it with love, then it's a lot makes things a lot easier. Makes it easier for God to continue helping us, and also it makes it easier for us to continue on with our progress. But what else? Oh, after that, then comes the test, and there is no way to know when the test will come. It could be like soon after the suffering, or it could be years later. And depending on how horrible our sins were, we might get a test more than once. Maybe it's just like we got what we thought was a test. It was just like a test for the test, and the real test is something like way more severe than we could possibly imagine. With with God's help and with our effort, we can always pass all the tests, and we can always overpower our evil inclination to commit sins. But the only key, like Rabbi Rubin says, is the only way for that to happen, for us to pass the test, is to learn as much Torah as possible, like constantly, every day, and just burn it into our souls. Last week's Torah portion was interesting. I mean, it was like wonderful and horrible, and Parashat Ha'azinu, HA apostrophe AZ, IU. It's the song that God commands Moshe to write down as a testimony and a witness that he warned the children of Israel about the consequences for their actions. But now there's a lot of stuff that's like not for the goyim, but we can still learn a lot from it. Because if God is that strict and harsh with his own firstborn, his nation, then obviously he's gonna be at least that strict and harsh with us. It's always good to straighten up and fly right. But there's things were going so great reading the Torah portion until where was it? I think it was like it's just the Torah portion. Ha'azinu was just one chapter in Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verses 1 through 52, and everything was going great. It was usually takes a while to get into a groove, I guess, where you're learning and really understanding things and going through stuff, and you get to a point where it's like you can understand things a lot better, and you're having enjoyment in something that most people would find completely boring and not fun at all. But that's what it gets amazing, because that's when God is right there. But I think it was around verse 26 or 27. The curses start in verse, I think, 22. It builds up to like why God's going to bring the curses, but verse 32:21 says, "They have moved me to jealousy with a no God." Below L, like in no God. And Rashi says, that is it's not that God was jealous, but that they made his anger glow, like his attribute of judgment, just rage, and was fiery hot to bring the truth down. And the truth is not good for anyone that doesn't strictly follow the Torah. That's one thing that Rabbi Reuben said. I can't remember which lecture it was in, but I learned it recently, and it is something we all need to really, really remember. Is God is infinitely merciful, but that's only in this world. Once we leave this world, there is no more mercy. Once we get to the next world and we have to face the final judgment, there's absolutely no mercy. All there is the absolute truth. So it's best we take advantage of all of God's mercy while we're here in this world. As much as we may not like what God's mercy feels like or is, it's best we just suck it up and accept it and take it with love, because the alternatives are infinitely horrible and far worse. They provoke me provoke me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with a no people. Rashi says, like, a people were not a people, not like someone, a nation without, like, with a horrible reputation, I guess. Like a vile, disgusting nation. I think, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's verse 32, or Deuteronomy 32:27. Were it not for the heaped up wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should misdeem, unless they should say, our hand is high and the Lord has not done all this. Somewhere around 26 or 27, I started to wonder which is which. Like, I couldn't, and and Rashi's commentary was not at least on the verses that I was reading one by one, was not clear enough to give me an understanding of who was being talked about and what perspective. I couldn't tell who was the wicked goyim that were attacking the Jews, and which curses were, or and the descriptions were talking about the nation of Israel. And I just broke my head over it for, I don't know, like 15 or 20 minutes, and then I had to take a break, and I got something to eat, and I came back, and I was trying to beg God for help and look at it, and I think I got some kind of clarity to understand. I had to go ask for some outside help, and were it not for the heaped up wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should misdeem, unless they should say, our hand is high and the Lord has not done all this. And originally I thought it's talking about the goyim, and that's what some commentaries say. So I read all the way through, and then I get to verse, I think 32:41, or no, 32:43. I finish reading it, and then I read the Rashi commentary, and it is just insanely long. It's like a whole, insane. There's like 50 commentaries of like huge paragraphs, and it took me, it felt like an hour just to read the commentary on this one verse. And man, rejoice, O nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and he will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will forgive his land and his people, which has been stated already, numerous times so far in the Torah, up to this Torah portion. And it's stated, numerous times in the Tanakh, even though he will let the wicked goyim do horrible things to his nation, like, eventually. Oh, that's a really good thing to know for everyone, that don't ever chase anyone, ever, ever, ever. Because even if you are righteous and you are being attacked, if you turn into the aggressor and go from defending yourself to chasing and attacking, you will get the severe judgment. God really favors the underdog, even if they're wicked and horrible people. So if you turn into the aggressor and go chasing someone down and attack them. God really does not like that, and he'll bring severe judgment. I think that's probably one reason why one of those one guys that chased after that jogger dude, and probably numerous other occasions of quote self-defense, just got raked over by the legal system of the United States of America. So definitely don't chase anybody. At least only to the edge of your property line. But don't actually attack them. If they're running away, just let them run. But the commentary for Deuteronomy 32:43 from Rashi was just so long, and I about ran out of steam. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to finish that was probably because I was feeling overly confident by the time I read first 26 or 7 or something when I took a break to eat. It's like, this is going great. I'm just chugging along. And then the rest of the Torah portion, which is, I was halfway through. The first half took maybe an hour. The second half, I think, took, 4 hours to finish. But after reading the entire book of the commentary, for verse 43, I came to the conclusion that I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I do know what's going on. And I feel a little bit better about not knowing what's going on from verse 26 through 31 or so at least. Rashi says there's a machloket, a difference of opinion from a couple of sages between Rav Yehuda and Rav Nehemiah on which verses from 26, I think, to 31 or so, depending on which sage is giving their commentary. So there's a difference of opinion on which verses are referring to Israel and which verses are referring to the wicked nations that are going to attack them. I mean, it doesn't really clear that stuff up, but it's at least there's multiple lessons to learn. One is that a person needs serious Torah wisdom, which I will probably never have, to be able to really understand what's going on without the help of someone that does. And the other is just because there's a disagreement between two sages doesn't mean one of them's right and one of them's wrong. As far as that is to understand. But most of the time there's a way where they could both be right. And very rarely there's rare occasions where they're both wrong and some other sage is right. And sometimes all three of them are right. But it takes a lot of learning to get that far to even be able to figure out what's what. Most of the time it's better for us to keep out of the weeds and just try to stick to the Peshat, the basic meaning, which is what I was trying to do. But sometimes it's sometimes there's no Rashi commentary on a verse, or sometimes the Rashi commentary is I don't know. I figure maybe I'm just mentally handicapped a lot of times and don't understand things. I should get going. It's late, and it's past the cutoff. I wish there was more time, because there's an infinite amount of stuff to go over. Oh, one thing I should, just because it's really, really good stuff now. And I think it's in the Rabbi Rubin's Preparing for Judgment lecture. He, I think that's what it was anyway. One of the recent ones, he talks about what a person should do if they are like losing all their money, like horrible calamities, where they like lose 90% of their money. And the sages say that he should, as long as he has enough money to live out the week, he should take pretty much whatever's left and give it all to a kosher charity, some kind of Torah organization, as a way to kind of like a sacrifice to appease God's judgment. And there's one sage that says, "We what's going on here? The sage is trying to just bludgeon us with this stuff. They're trying to abuse us with these things that they're saying." And I said, no, there's a method to the madness. It says the reason why a person, is in that predicament in the first place, why they would start like losing a bunch of money, as long as they're not like, for someone that's trying to follow the Torah and not wholly wicked, for someone that's mostly righteous, the reason why they would start losing all their money is because they put too much faith in their money, and the money becomes like a god, like some false idol that they worship. I think that is where all the salvation comes from, and not from God. And so their only hope that they possibly have to salvage any kind of emunah, any kind of faith and trust in God that they have, and to start rebuilding it, is to take everything that they have that they don't need to survive, like the sages say, throughout through the end of the week, and then give it all away to an organization that promotes real Torah, not the Red Cross, and not the Clinton Foundation, or not even Donald Trump's re-election campaign. And that's the only hope for a person to salvage what's left of their faith in God, and start rebuilding it, and then put everything, put all their faith back into God, and leave everything up to Him. Say, you are in charge, and whatever happens is for the best. I'm gonna get going now. Hopefully you guys. Oh, and if you're a goy, we don't celebrate holidays. Like I mentioned, we don't celebrate any holidays, but we can acknowledge that there's judgment, and the sealing of the judgment. We should, atone for our sins and whatnot on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But other than that, everything is off limits, 100%. No Sukkot, no no nothing. So stick to what we are allowed to do. And if we want more, we have to go all the way. All the way. We have to beg God for help. Whatever it takes to do a kosher conversion is fair, no matter what we think, because there's no such thing as not fair. Only a heretic thinks that things are not fair. And hopefully none of us are heretics. God, please grant us all the assistance to keep doing Teshuvah, to overpower the Yetzirah, to outsmart the Yetzirah, and to pass all the tests that you placed before us. Please have mercy on everyone, even though we don't deserve any of it. Okay,